Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, be the first one getting all the insight. Alright, some updates without any announcements. Now, I was expecting the government of Australia, well, perhaps the Minister of Immigration to come out, Andrew Giles, perhaps just to come out and say, look, there's some updates, we're announcing, and there's not even in the news section there, so no announcements, but they are definitely some changes. So you just gotta pay attention to all the nitty-gritty changes that we because we're in the industry, we look into the immigration website all the time, every day. So anyway, let's give you some of the update. One of them has actually been updated, I believe last week, but there's not much to say, which is the subclass 485 for the graduate work stream, and the other one is 191, where a lot of people is excited about. Well, they were not excited before because they raised the test limit to 70,000. So a lot of the 491 visa holder is afraid and fear that how can they make 70,000 in regional Australia. But anyway, that has all changed. Now let's get into those details. Now first of all, let's have a look at the subclass 485. Now obviously, if you see that light blue section, it's the tiny words, but I'll read them out for you. It says the occupation nomination for the skill assessment requirement graduate work stream application lodged from 1st July 2023. Now remember, last year about around this time, the government of Australia has announced that they will no longer require any occupation or nominated required for, so that means no skill assessment is required for all the graduate work these streams, but now looks like and they did say back in last year, they did say that they reserve the right to extend it if need require, but it looks like they are not going to do that. But there's still a little bit of differences here. Let's have a look there. Okay, a graduate stream application lodged from 1st July 2023. Okay, need a qualification relevant to an occupation list and a skill occupation list. They also need a skill assessment and nomination occupation. We have removed these requirement application lodged between 1st July 2022 and 30th June 2023. Now, key thing I wanted to tell you about here is, first of all, there are some, I've received numerous queries and comments, and there are some agents out there and telling their client, going back to the skill occupation list, and you need to select those occupation in the medium and long term list. Well, what I can say is not that totally correct, because of my feeling and from the recommendation of the migration review report. The short-term and the medium long-term occupation list is due to be merged altogether. So there's no more, because the employment sponsor visa is no longer require an occupation list anymore. So they will merge together into one single occupation list. So that looks like it's gonna go back 5-6 years ago, where there's no medium and short-term differences. Okay, so when we look into this, although the notice did direct us to the skill occupation list, but once we click into that skill occupation list, it's the current skill occupation list where there is a medium long term and there is a short term list. Okay, so it's not totally correct. We gotta understand, we need to click on this and check back on the 1st July 2023 whether or not, well, I believe there's gonna be change anyway. Otherwise, why would there be a migration review report anyhow? And they're gonna streamline everything into one skill occupation list with a different point test system, remember? Okay, so I suspect once you click, so it's not a final version. You can use the medium long term as a reference for now, but I don't think it will be exactly the same. I don't think it will be exactly the same. Okay, there will be. I think they've been through a lot of consultations. So the new skill occupation list is not the one that once you click in here, is not the one that you're looking into right now. So the best way to come back to this is obviously to check on the check back, 1st of July 2023. I just noticed that I tried logging into the immigration system this morning. They are under maintenance, so obviously there are changes coming up, but there was no announcements. I don't know why they choose not to announce. I'm not gonna repeat these extended posts, right, because I've done a specific video on this one previously. Now the next one is the exciting part. Now it's the remember, all the 491 visa holder or the potential 491 visa applicants with fear about the change in the rates of TISMET from 50,900 up to 70,000. So that means if following the current policy or the previous or the past policy, the 491 visa holder is required to make an income over 70,000 for 3 consecutive years in order to actually transfer into 191, which is the permanent residence. Now that caused a lot of people in panic, didn't we? Now last night, well, probably late yesterday, there has been some changes, and it's very, very minor. Well, I think there's a news page, but look, at least they need to come out and announce it. But anyway, make sure you subscribe to my channel, so once all these change updates, you definitely get it in the time coming. Okay, so the permanent resident skill regional visa subclass 191 has done a little bit change. Again, they have this little light blue bar with a notice of announcements. Let's have a little read, and we go through the detail there as well. So it says there is no minimum income requirement. There's no more. Wow, that means if you only make $1 for that year, as long as you lodge for the notice of assessment to the lost the tax return to the ATO, Australian Taxation Office, and get a notice of assessment, and the notice of assessment says you have made $1 for 2023, that is fine. Oh wow. Well, look, to be honest, my expectation, what I had predicted was for the regional 491, they will remain the same with the current TISMET, which is $53,900 for annual income. But I certainly did not expect the immigration to drop that low. That means no minimum income. So as long as you make $1, it will fit the requirement. All right, let's continue to read this. So it says no minimum income requirement for permanent residence visa subclass 191. Well, what if you don't make any money? Would it still meet the requirement? Because there's no minimum. You see, would 0 be accepted as long as you lodge your tax return? I don't know. I'm not a taxation specialist, but can you lodge a $0 tax return? I think you can. But anyway, all right. Primary applicant must provide notice of assessment issued by the Australian Taxation Office for 3 income year out of the 5 of their eligible visa. Primary applicant who have already lodged should ensure their application provide these 3 notices. So let's go into the eligibility, and we continue to go down to satisfy income requirement. Well, look, if the law says satisfy income requirement, at least you need to make something. So I don't suggest you make and lodge a $0 tax return. So, but $1 could it? I don't know. I don't know, because it says no. Because because if it's 0, then they basically just remove all this, right? But it still says you need to satisfy income requirement. So what sort of income requirement is it? So there's no minimum. There is no minimum income requirement. Okay, well, anyway, again, it repeats what it says right up there. So from my observation, I think it's due to first of all, the regulation passed through by the former government was really it's not clear. It does not spell where the standard is. So the law, I think the law is required to go back for a further consultation and amendments there. But anyhow, for the current situation and the upcoming July financial year, for anyone who wanted to move into the provisional the permanent resident under subclass 191, as long as you provide 3 notice of assessment issued by the Australian Taxation Office, you're safe. You're safe. That is it. Anyway, I think there will be a lot more changes coming up, but it's just, isn't it weird they don't provide any announcements? Normally they would, but they chose not to, maybe because there are a lot of changes coming up. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, share my channel to all your mates as we continue to look into the upcoming changes. Should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.